Hi, welcome to the Book Bar, where everything bookish is on the menu. And today I wanted to take a minute, as promised, to tell you about how I plan my reading every year and what resources I use to keep track of my reading as the year progresses. I'm going to start out just by talking generally, and then I'm going to show you some specific things that I use. So every year, at the beginning of the year, I get really excited about choosing my Goodreads challenge number. This year is 50, and I talked about that in a video that I can link below in the description. And that always motivates me because I see what my friends have chosen, and I usually try and choose something at or above the year before. So that's always really fun. If you're not on Goodreads yet, consider it and follow me on there for sure. I do usually review the books that I read, at least with a star rating. So that's number one. And then number two is I think through some general goals. So definitely look at my video about my 2021 reading goals to hear specifically what I'm hoping for this year. But I like to think through what my overarching hopes for my reading for the year are, whether that means reading more of a particular genre or reading more in general or reading less. Watch my video for why I might want to do that. And do some planning and writing that down. So I have some resources that I'm going to show you for planning, but I just wanted to encourage you before I show you the specific things. If you're not sure what you want to read this year, or you're not sure where to begin, or maybe you're in a reading slump and it's been a really long time since you have read something, ask a friend to recommend a book that they think you would enjoy. And one small piece of advice before just asking anyone is to think about a friend that you know reads something similar, or tell that friend, if it's just a very bookish friend, what your favorites are, kind of your top 5, or what kind of genre you're looking for. Another thing you can do if you don't want to ask a particular person is to look for read-alikes online. So look for, if you're thinking about fiction, go to Novel List, look that up. There's some other read-alike websites that you can plug in a book that you enjoy and find authors that are similar. Also, you could just ask a librarian. I'm a little biased because my husband's a library director, but I have found that if you go to the library and say, I liked this book, what should I read next? They can give you recommendations even if they're not familiar with that genre, or even if they don't read that genre, because they're familiar with most genres, but also they've got tools, fancy tools and databases that they can help you use. So definitely ask a librarian. Okay, there's my PSA for now, and I think I'm going to swap camera angles and show you what I have here on my desk. Okay, so here are some of the things that I use regularly that are actually physical, that are not Goodreads or some other database online. And I just wanted to share them because I find that planning helps me to find that sweet spot between being overscheduled in my reading and in my life. So planning in general helps me not overschedule and then not be able to keep track of my commitments and want to do all the things but not have the time, so then I end up doing less. I'm actually less productive even though I have my schedule full. And then the opposite end is having lots of ideas and lots of goals, lots of books I want to read and things I want to do and professional things I want to achieve, but not having any actionable steps set up to help me. So while planning for reading might sound kind of overkill, I'm not sure if that's something that you do regularly. Reading is really important to me, and so I find that planning is the best way to make sure that will happen. So like I said, at the beginning of every year, I do decide what I'm going to read, and sometimes I use a challenge, like Modern Mrs. Darcy always has a reading challenge, and this year she made her reading challenge really interesting, where she helped you really think through what you want to do with your reading life. So for instance, she asked, what do you want more of? Do you want more focus, enthusiasm, replenishment, fun? What do you want in your reading life? Are you looking for growth or surprises or energy, or maybe you want variety? So then you can go through and you can mark what it is that you're actually looking for in your reading life. And I will actually link to this in the description, so you can print this out yourself and you can kind of decide what it is, then work through this whole thing. It says, like, what do you suspect your reading life needs? What are some mini projects that you like? And then customize your reading challenge. So it talks about choosing just a few things to build your list around. So brainstorm right here. It says brainstorm what kinds of books, that is which challenge prompts, which are on the next pages, will help you create the reading life that you want this year. Choose from past options from the previous years that she's listed challenges and make your own list. So she's provided this worksheet. Normally she just gives you a list of prompts, and I'm going to share some of those with you. But this year she asked us to do our own, and I'm really excited about this, although I've already kind of done it. Before I print it out, I kind of did it in my head, but I still use this format to help me decide. So I just wanted you to see how the blank lists look. So in previous years, she has given ideas for book lists for each year, and this year she also did challenge prompts. So like if you wanted to read for comfort, then choose a book from your childhood, a book by a favorite author, a book you can finish in a day, and so on. And then you have your list, and so then you at least have, in this case, 12 hobbitses, 12 books to start from. So that's a really great idea to help yourself get back into reading if you're in a slump. Kind of give yourself actionable lists. And she also showed lists some things that she did in 2020 and previous years, which I have used every year, and I just found it really interesting to go to my bookshelf and choose books that match these categories. So for instance, in 2019, a book you've been meaning to read, a book about a topic that fascinates you, a book in the backlist of a favorite author, a book recommended by someone with great taste, and so on. So I always do challenges like this, and you can find challenges all over the internet, but I really like Modern Mrs. Darcy's challenge. The other thing that I do, I'll get to this in a minute, is keep track of a reading log and some other little bits. And sometimes I just do it on my phone, but this year I printed out and bound The Book Lover's Companion by Elsie Callender from Tea and Ink Society. And if you are interested in this when the video is over, please use my link in the description, as I'm an affiliate, but it also will give you a code for 20% off of this. So thank you, Elsie, for that code for all of my viewers. I just wanted to show you what she included in this journal. I just think it's really neat. You could obviously kind of replicate this in a bullet journal or something, but she actually has multiple sizes, so you can get the half size or you can have the full size, and there's actually two different cover options. So this is one cover option and this is the other, and I like the green, so I went with that in the front, but I put the one in the back just so you could see it. She's broken it down into different sections, and I've used these cute tabs that she recommended on her website. She gives lots of great tips for how to bind this. So there's a reading log and there's a table of contents for the reading log, which is really nice because as I build up this reading log, I can go to page 1 or page 3, what have you, and find my my book that I'm interested in. So my first one, Rebecca, of this year, which there will be a review of very soon, I got to write things like when I completed it, what the genre was, which, ooh, interesting, spoiler, I'm going to have to go back and change that now that I've read the whole thing, and how I heard about it, who I'd recommend it to, and then she gives a whole page for notes and favorite quotes, which I definitely used. So that's this section. I'll just show you the blank pages. There's lots of them, and you can print out as many as you want. And then she has a section for books that okay, I'll tell you that in a second. I thought it was right after it, but a DNF section did not finish, which I'm really going to try and add something to this year. I have a really hard time not finishing my reads. Books I read to my kids, which will definitely get full for me, and then some TBR lists. Short-term TBR and long-term TBR. So in other words, like what you want to read first, and then what you want to read. Maybe you own it and you don't want to forget it, but you're not quite ready to read it. So these are great lists that I haven't had time to fill out yet. I love the idea that I'll get to work with this all year. And then this really cool section called libraries, and it has a place for your actual physical library information, just like so you can quickly find the contact information, and then a cool chart for keeping track of your library due dates. And then this is my favorite thing, maybe in the whole, maybe not the whole journal, but I really love this. She has a section for things that you have borrowed from people and things you have lent out. Because how many times have you given someone a book and you cannot remember for the life of you who it was, or vice versa? I'm definitely going to use this. And then a whole section of checklists, like if you are reading a series and it's long and you want to keep track of the order, and if you read or own them, you can record that in here. That's one of the checklists. You can put your favorite author and everything that they have written, so that you can keep track of what you've read, what you own, so that if you have an author that you'll just read anything. And then your reading challenges, like this Modern Mrs. Darcy, you can put it down, put your category, and put what you picked for that category, and if you've read it. I just love that. And lots of other things like, oh, for me, I have a little checklist. There's blank checklists, and I actually put a checklist for videos for YouTube. So I've made this one, and this one, and this one, and now I'm making this one. So, oh, Rebecca is next. I've made one other too that I haven't written on here. So that's really fun. Okay. And then miscellany, there's this whole section for words that you find that are new to you or that you find interesting. Isn't that fun? And there's also, I almost skipped over it. There's favorite quotes. There's a whole section for favorite quotes, and then book and movie adaptations. So like I put Rebecca because I watched the Netflix, and I didn't put my rating here yet on purpose because I don't want you to know until you watch the video. Anyhow, lots of little gems in here. And then if you don't want something, a section, if a section doesn't appeal to you, then you can just not have it in your book, which is really cool. I do think I skipped a section, but I can't remember which one it is. And then I put at the end of my book, my year in books, so that at the end of 2021, I can go through and write all these cool things about new authors I discovered, books I reread. She has these prompts that are really fun. So I am going to fill this all up in 1 year. This is new for me to have a guided reading journal, but I've always wanted one. So definitely check this out or look for something similar. Okay, so how do I keep track of things that I have read and that I enjoyed? If it's not a reading journal, what are some other ways? This is my family read aloud book review journal that our whole family uses. We started it in 2020, and then here's our 2021, which we haven't filled out yet because we're still reading our first book of the year. But these are all the books that I read with my children last year in 2020. And each time we finished one, we'd write the title, Call of the Wild, when we finished it, and each one of us would give it stars. And then I just kind of wrote down quotes of what people said. Like my 8-year-old said, I liked all the violence, which is going to be funny when he's older, right? I mean, it's already funny, but like it's going to be really funny when he's 30 and we're like, see? And so I've done that I've done like likes and dislikes. I've done all kinds of different things to record it, quotes from each of us. And this has been really fun. The kids really get into this. And you could do this yourself, and it's just like sections in this that you could do. But I just keep a nice journal for my kids. And for myself, when I find something that I've really enjoyed that's meaningful in a book, I like to put it in my Commonplace Journal. So if you're not familiar with the Commonplace Journal, it's just a notebook where you keep anything that has caught your fancy that you want to remember from any book. So I've had this one since 2018, and every time I find something in a book that really sticks with me, I just write it down. And it doesn't actually have to be in sections. I have done like, let's see. So I intend on enjoying more quotes from Saint Jose Maria Escriva, and so I did put a page for him that I haven't completely filled out yet, but you don't have to keep it sectioned out. You can do whatever you want. This one I just another section for George MacDonald, for instance, but basically I just write down anything that that really stood out to me, and this has become a good discipline, and I actually want to do it even more because especially if I'm in a book club or if I'm talking to a friend about something, or now that I'm making videos and I want to reference back to something, it'd be really nice to be able to just open my book, find the quote by flipping through to approximately where I was writing, when I did it, and then share it. And also I do think I'll enjoy looking back through this in the future just to see what impressed me along the way. So leave a comment and tell me what it is that you use to keep track. Do you just remember what you've read? Do you keep all the books that you've read on a special shelf in your house? Do you have some other method of marking and remembering what you've read? And also, if you have any questions about any of these things that I didn't cover, then definitely leave me a comment asking those questions, because I know this was a really brief overview, and I'm sure you guys have really great ideas to give each other as well. So I want to hear all the ways that you plan your reading and keep track of your reading. And again, if you want to know my plans for 2021, make sure that you look for that video on my YouTube channel. So thanks again for watching, and in addition to those comments, leave me a comment and tell me what you're reading right now and what's in your cup.